I want to play Thune because I call it Senate cuck talk. Here we're going to play it from yesterday evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have a saying around here that if you don't get national security right, the rest is just conversation. And that's certainly true with respect to some of the issues that we have in front of us right now. The FISA legislation, which is pending here in the United States Senate, is critical to keeping this country safe and secure for Americans. And just to put it...
Hang on. The gall of this guy, McCabe, the gall of this guy. We have a saying up here, all puffed up. We have a saying up here. If you don't get national security right, that the rest is conversation. Dude, we got 22 million illegal aliens in this country, and you will not lift a finger to have the back of the President of the United States to get them the hell out of the country. Do not sit there and get all puffed up and tell me about national security, that you're so worried about national security that Mike Johnson, you're not worried about anything but your Wall Street donors and your big corporate donors and the tech oligarch donors. All you care about is kowtowing to them. To sit there in the microphone and go, you know, we have a saying up here. The saying is that if we don't get national security right, everything else is conversation. You're not getting national security right. When we have an invasion of this country in broad daylight, and the donors back it up because they want cheap labor and they want bigger consumer markets and bigger real estate markets, when it's their deal and you're kowtowing them, do not stand in front of a microphone and start pushing FISA, the very tool used to demonize people and to put people in prison. Do not sit there and say we need FISA. You haven't done the basics. You're a bald-faced liar and you need to be turfed out. If you can't get rid of Thune, it's not going to happen. And God, I'm telling you, you're going to lose the Senate. They're saying, oh, it's all coming down to Susan Collins. There is no enthusiasm whatsoever. Do you think all those people who voted against Lindsey Graham, you got, what, 55% of the vote yesterday? 43%? How many of the 43% that voted against Lindsey Graham in the primary that hate the sound of his voice are going to come out in the fall for Lindsey Graham? Holding the Senate doesn't mean anything. You know what it means? You get John Thune puffed up lecturing you about national security. Let's continue on. I want to continue on, Neil. Hang on. Keep going. Let's play it again.
And just to put a fine point on that, if you look at how effective FISA has been, it has stopped numerous terrorist attacks. It has been used in 90% of the CIA's synthetic drug disruptions. So in other words, these drug busts that you keep reading about, a lot of that originates with information derived from the 702 process. So it's very, very concerning when you have the Democrats here in the United States Senate essentially saying that we are not interested in reauthorizing this program, which will go dark at midnight on Friday if we don't take action. Questions?
President Trump and his allies have renewed their calls to fire the parliamentarian and pass the SAVE Act. You've been very clear as to why the SAVE Act doesn't have the votes to pass and why firing the parliamentarian would create problems here. But are you worried that if you don't do what the president wants, that he's going to criticize your leadership or perhaps withdraw support for your leadership?
That could happen. Look, and it's a well-known fact around here. Sometimes perhaps not fully grasped around the country, but anybody who follows this process closely knows that we don't have the votes. And the only way that you could figure out a way to get the votes, and even in that case, the Save America Act didn't even get 50 votes last week on the floor of the Senate. But even if you confine it to just the two issues of photo ID and citizenship in order to register to vote, on those two issues, it takes 60 votes in the Senate. The only way you could get there is to undo or get rid of the legislative filibuster, and there aren't even close.
You're called the leader for a reason. You've got to lead. I hear your problems, okay? I don't care about your problems. We care about results. This is why somebody's got to step up. We may not have 50 votes, but you got 27 to replace this guy. McCabe, your thoughts. It was great what you got, because people should understand that's how they talk every day, okay? This is just more Senate gobbledygook, right? And no decisive action because they're too gutless. They rather cross Trump than cross their donors. That's why they're prepared to take on the president, because their donors say, we got your back. Don't worry. We'll keep putting money into the Senate Leadership Fund, and you guys won't get turfed out. John Cornyn, take your number 2 principle and write that down, how well that worked out for you.